The truth is, these judgmental attitudes in speech are very low vibrational energy. Now, what does that mean? We're all energetic beings. We're spirit. We're spirit, but we forget that. And here we are in the physical world. So what do we need to do to shift our energy so that we vibrate at a higher level? And that we don't make these inflammatory statements. We know we live in a world that's very inflammatory, but we want to get our hearts and our mindsets so that we guard our hearts. Well, when we guard our hearts, the heart is the highest vibrational organ in the body. And we approach people with love. We accept them. We look at them and we can see the very best that they can be. Now, how do we do that? What are the factors? Part of the problem is we live in a world that bombards us with issues and entities that lower our vibrational energy, and we have to protect ourselves. So this is a quick overview, but I hope that you find this helpful. Okay, one of the worst is the processed food that's everywhere. Is we pick it up, it's convenient, it's in a wrapper. Okay, this is low vibrational food as opposed to a pure organic apple or a pear or an orange or other fresh foods. Okay, so we watch our diet. We try to eat organic, and even if we, organic is expensive, but find a local farmer that's growing without pesticides. Why do we talk about pesticides? Because let's use one, glyphosate, the most common pesticide that's used, at least in this country, okay, literally depletes the produce of all its nutrients. So we're eating food that has no nutrients, and we are becoming a very nutrient depleted society. None of that is good for our energy. None of that is good for our well-being and our vibrational energy. And most importantly, our hearts. Now, what are some other factors? In the US, they say that when people get up in the morning and get ready for their day, shampoo, lotions, cosmetics, they are exposed to over 100 chemicals by 9 o'clock every morning. None of these chemicals are good for us. This is a highly unregulated industry. And women, again, I'm only speaking in the US, but by the end of the day, the average woman has been exposed to over 680 chemicals. Now, what is that doing for people's energy? What is that doing for people's hearts? So we need to be much more vigilant about our lifestyle habits. The other thing is we live in the information age. The information age started in the 70s, and we are bombarded with information. Each one of us knows this. We learn to navigate it. We learn to take what we need, but it is a lot. Now, when it's bombarding the brain, what happens? The heart gets closed. So you see, all these factors, unless we become very proactive in our lives, we do what we need to do to protect our hearts. And then as we have a higher vibrational level, okay, issues like being judgmental, that doesn't exactly, well, that makes no sense. Why would we be judgmental towards another human being? They're another human being. We can relate to them on a higher level. Now, I want to talk just a minute about this, but we have just come through one of the most devastating past 2 years on the planet. Okay, COVID hit the world by storm. I mean, it has decimated the globe with countless people hurting and suffering. Now, as we strengthen and we raise our vibrational energy and open our hearts, we can be aware and think, gee, how can we be helpful to other people? I'll just tell you, here in the US, our food banks are hurting. Our local food banks have become a ground level source of sustenance for many people in our local communities. So any one of us who is able, we can be a support. Call them up. What do they need? Do they need cash? Do they need donations? Do they need volunteers? But there's tons of ways to volunteer. The other thing is, I'm getting ready to close, but we lost over 6 million people around the world. That alone, okay, that makes my heart grieve. Here in the US alone, 1 million. So we've got all these families who are still in a state of grief. So how can we reach out and support? And it may be 1 or 2 people, but that's a lot. If each one of us does a little bit, wow, we're raising our vibrational level and we're creating a healthy world. So with that, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. It is an absolute privilege to be with you today.
Mary Zennett, thank you so much for your talk. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I thought there was really some great golden bits of really great information in there, stuff which I didn't know about. So thank you so much, Mary. And yeah, we can answer some questions later on for you at the end of the summit. So thank you, Mary. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You. That was amazing. Yeah. So next, I believe speakers, I don't think Sheldon Crocker's going to be speaking today. Our gentleman is supposed to be speaking. So I think I'm going to ask Tom. Would you like to speak next for me, please, Tom? Would that be okay?
Yes, I would love to.
You're very welcome, Tom. Thank you.
Tom, before you just start talking, sorry to interrupt, Frankie. We've got lovely Ramona Pop here to step in instead of Sheldon. So I just wanted to let you know. Thank you, Ramona, for doing that.
Thank you, Ramona.
Thank you.
Would you like to start then, please, my friend?
Oh, just now?
Sorry, are you going now, Ramona? Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was looking on the list.
Sorry.
Because I saw Sheldon is the second one there. So I thought I will be the second one.
The second one, Ramona.
Yes, but it's amazing. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here with you, with all of you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ramona Pop. I'm from Romania. I live in UK. In London, I'm a transformational mindset coach and a spirituality psychology coach. I recently became also a public speaker, which is great that every event like this one, it's a new opportunity for me to grow and to show people that it's possible to really have dreams and to overcome your fears. This was my biggest fear. So here I am, happy to speak with all of you guys. Let's get to the topic, to how to avoid being judgmental. So I believe that the very first thing that we need to remember is that who we are. I mean, there is a moment maybe in each one of us, in every person's life, when we start to remember and we start to question ourselves, and maybe we go also in front of the mirror like I did one day, and I just looked in the mirror and I asked myself, who am I? And that was the moment when I started to receive the questions, and my search started, like my search for myself, who am I, started that day. So once I understood that I am the source, I'm one with the universe, I am God, I am the one who create my life, everything changed. I took a quantum leap. It wasn't, oh my God, I'm like, I still have goosebumps, like every time I speak about it. It was amazing. So for me, it's simple. How to avoid being judgmental is just to remember who we are. We are love. I mean, whenever you, every act, everything you're doing, if it's coming from a space of love, you can't be judgmental, because you cannot, because this is the moment when you start to realize who you are. You start to understand that you are love. And looking to people with so much gracefulness and so much love, you understand that each one of us have a particular and a unique way in this life, and a path, and we all have to accomplish this path in a different way. Of course, we all have our old past traumas, we all have our past. So once we understand that we are love, and we are the ones who can really change our lives, we can't be judgmental anymore. We can become compassionate. We can be very, lovable to others and understandable. And yeah, I believe this can change every person's life.
Thank you so much, Ramona, for that lovely talk. Thank you so much. I've really learned so much from you. Thank you so much. And yeah, you're doing amazing virtues. So, and it was a real pleasure to see you and to meet you here. So thank you so much, Ramona. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
you're very welcome. Right.
I'm sorry to just jump in a moment. That was amazing, Ramona. Thank you for sharing. And also Mary, so entertaining. I've jumped in because unfortunately we're going live on your personal page, Frankie. So I wondered if we could stop the recording and go live on Global Speakers, because lots of people are looking for us.
Right, sorry about that. Okay.
That's okay. So if we actually just stop the live.
Okay.
Yes. And we have this recorded, ladies, so yours will be added to the replay of the live. I'll edit it myself.
Stop the live,
we'll put you on the front of the summit, but we're going to make sure we go live on the right page now, so that people who are looking for us can find us, and they'll be able to catch up with yours with the replay. I hope that's okay. Sorry about that. Frankie, if you just go and exit the live recording up the top where it's, oh, okay, you have done. You've exited the live recording. Fabulous. So now you're going to go back into the more. And this time when you go to the more, when you choose the Facebook Live, remember to go to the very bottom option and make sure you choose Global Live Speakers Facebook page.
So go, okay.
Thanks for your patience, everyone.
So go into live Facebook, yeah, and then choose it, sorry.
You see.
Oh, no.
Share, I put share to your group. Is that right, Lisa?
What's the other options?
Share to your group. I've just got here, and share to your page. Share to your timeline.
Okay. It just says share to your page. Doesn't say share to your page, Global Speakers Talk.
No.
Right.
Share on your timeline, share to your page or share to your group.
Okay. When you click share to your group, does it say which group it is?
No.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Guys, hello, sorry to interrupt. Frankie, have you remembered, have we have tried last times, couple of days before. I told you that when you click on the share to your page, then you will get many options. Then when you will scroll down, then the global speakers talk page will be shown.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I've got it now. Share to your timeline, or to share to your page in Global Speaker.
Yes. When you click on share to your page,
Just go live, yeah?
Does it say Global Speakers Talk on the
Just
share
say
to your
Global
page?
Speaker Talk.
Perfect. That's the one then. Lovely.
thank you so much.
Sorry about this, gentlemen, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, sorry.
We are live. We already had two speakers. We've been going live on a different page, and I'd like to pass you over to your wonderful host today, Mr. Frankie Kington.
Right, so I believe we have Shabari Monica Das speaking next. And she's the founder and manager at the World Vegan Market. She helps businesses who sell vegan products. Hello, Shabari. Thank you for being here today. How are you today, Shabari?
Oh, well, thank you so much, Frankie. I'd like to also thank the GST for this wonderful opportunity to be part of this summit. And we've had some amazing speakers so far, and I'm well and truly honoured to be amongst you all. So thank you. And this is such a fascinating topic, and I would say whether we think that we are, or whether we think that we're not, we are constantly judging people from when we were in the playground right up until when we take our last breath. And so in the playground, we judge other children on how they dress, on how they look, how they behave, and also their personality. And based on that judgment, children hang around with those who are what they think are as cool or as being popular. And children who are seen to maybe being a little bit different are often bullied. And at school I didn't quite fit in, so my experience was that I was actually bullied a lot at school, and because of that, for a very, very long time, I wish that I wasn't me. I wish that I was anyone but me. And it was only until much, much later in life that I finally accepted me for who I am. And but that didn't come until much, much later. And the thing is, we are never taught in schools about being tolerant of others, which is why I feel that we judge other people either by our own standards or in comparison to something else. There always has to be an element of either comparing with another person or other things when you're judging people. And so you could say that it is human nature to be judgmental. When you look back at history, for example, people have been constantly judging others. For example, different tribes that were at war with each other just because they were in different tribes. And judgments are made because of different religions, different beliefs, different races, different genders, and so on. And in the past as well, people were drowned as witches or burnt at the stake as heretics because of judgments against them. And even now, there is just so much that you hear in the news about violence due to racism, due to religion, due to homophobia, and so on. And in terms of being judgmental in the modern age, I feel that we are neither more nor less judgmental than before, The only thing that has changed is the opportunity to voice our opinions on a global platform with the advent of social media. Social media has enabled those who have profiles to be in the public eye constantly. And there is just so much pressure on people to portray a certain image. And whether we are posting about ourselves or not, we are constantly being judged. We're judged on the number of likes and followers that we have. We're judged on the kind of posts that we make, whether those posts look professional or whether people think that they're fun or interesting or informative. And if we're not posting at all, we're also being judged as to why we're not posting. And then when we're meeting people face to face for the first time, we are asked, what do we do for a living? It's the same question over and over again. And so we are judged on what kind of job that we do, or what kind of career or business that we do. We're judged on whether we make money or whether we don't make money. We're judged on whether we make a lot of money or whether we make too little money. And we're also judged by our possessions, our homes, our cars, our clothes, and so on. We're also judged by our looks, our weight, and we're constantly comparing ourselves to comparing ourselves to famous people who we think have like the perfect looks or the perfect bodies, and there's just no such thing. And we're also judged on our personalities and behaviors as well. We're judged on whether we have children or not, and if we do have children, we're judged on how many we have and how we're raising them, whether what university that they're going to, whether they're going to Oxbridge. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. So, we're just, whatever life stage we are at, we are constantly being judged. And so it's no wonder that mental health issues are widespread. When you think of all the things that you're being judged on, it's not a surprise that it can affect you mentally. So one of my suggestions is actually to regularly do a digital detox where you're not on social media, you don't look at social media, you don't look at your phone, you don't look at anything digital for one day a week or every weekend. And I feel that that can help you immensely. And again, you may be judged on this. People might think, oh, why is she taking a day off or a weekend off or whatever. But you need to do what you need to do to keep your sanity. Then we also need to recognize that we may be the harshest judges or critics of ourselves. The voices in our heads telling us we are not good enough, that we, as I was saying earlier, that we don't have a body like this person, that we are not as pretty as we used to be, that we are a failure, and so on, is the biggest wrong that we can do to ourselves. And and it's often the qualities that we actually dislike about ourselves that we recognize in others, and which is why we judge others, because we reckon it's the same kind of thing that we dislike in ourselves. So as a vegan of 25 years, which is more than half my life, I have been judged and even shamed for being a vegan, especially when I was working in the corporate world, which was, quite some time ago. I was made to feel that I shouldn't be vegan because nobody else in my office was vegan, and the bullying from my former colleagues about me being a vegan actually reminded me of my school days when I was picked on because of my race, and being a bit different. And so I did actually point out to a manager at one time that their behaviour towards me was due to prejudice. And she then responded that it was ignorance rather than prejudice. And but you know, thinking back to nowadays, thinking about it nowadays, there is less ignorance about veganism than there was, say, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I feel that there has been a collective shift in consciousness, which has actually been helped by social media, and veganism is much more socially acceptable now. And the fact that many famous people are also vegan as well, and are even looked upon as role models, and therefore can influence and demonstrate the benefits of going vegan to their fans, has helped the vegan cause. So I do actually sometimes think about whether those who have bullied me, either because of the colour of my skin or being different or being a vegan, whether they feel the same way now, or whether they have changed in their thinking. I do actually think about that now. And it was interesting to see when I promoted the Global Speakers Summit, someone who is also vegan asked me, how can she be less judgmental of those who are not vegan? So I responded to her that most of us who are vegan were not born vegan, so we can't really judge those who are not yet on the journey to being vegan. And another person who's also vegan mentioned that whenever she says to someone who is not a vegan that she is vegan, she feels that they feel that she is automatically judgmental. And while that might be true for some vegans who do judge others who are not vegan, this person and a lot of other vegans are tolerant of those who are not. And I'll talk about tolerance a little bit later. But for me, I personally don't agree with only doing business with other vegans. I run the World Vegan Market, which Frankie mentioned, and it's an online vegan market which promotes only vegan products and vegan friendly services. However, the business owners don't have to themselves be vegan. They need only to understand the vegan ethos and to agree that not to promote non-vegan items. And many of the consumers in my group are not vegan either, but they are looking for vegan products either because they like them, or but they have vegan friends or family members that they want to buy for. So when was the last time I was judgmental of somebody else? Well, okay, so recently I was speaking to a friend of mine who mentioned that that she and one of her former colleagues had gone out to a nightclub, and her former colleague had recently lost her partner, and she was so terribly upset that she wanted to go out clubbing to find solace in another man's arms. And when my friend mentioned that to me, I felt myself judging this other person, and I thought, well, how can she do that? Her her partner has just died, and already she wants to go out and you know, get with another man. And then my friend explained to me, well, it's how she's handling it, you know, it's her way of handling grief. And then when she explained that to me, I thought, okay, well, you know, people do handle grief in different ways, and I shouldn't be judgmental of her for doing what she needs to do. So yeah, that was I took a look at myself, and I thought, well, okay, you know, I really shouldn't be judging her for that, because that was her way of actually handling grief. So, in conclusion, what is needed to be less judgmental is to put yourself in other people's shoes, sympathy and empathy towards others, and tolerances of differences, and also being kind to ourselves. And don't forget the golden rule: treat others in the same way that you would like to be treated, and even better, treat others in the way that they would like to be treated. So I'd like to leave that with you all. Thank you.
Oh, Shabari, thank you so much for that talk. That was absolutely mind-blowing. Talking about your vegan products and being judgmental. It was amazing. And thank you so much for your talk and being here, and I appreciate you. And I'm sure the audience really like that. So thank you so much, Shabari. Thank you so much. So next up, we have Mia Butler, who is a spoken word artist and a poet. I love her motto as well. Her motto is, you can either stand in fear or stand in courage. Mia Butler, how are you, my dear?
I am doing so well. How are you?
I'm very well, Mia. Yes, I'm very well. I'm looking forward, and sure everyone's looking forward to your talk. You're very welcome.
Thank you, sir. It's pronounced Maya, but I can understand. Sorry. It's okay. I find myself correcting someone every time, so it's so okay. So I wanted to speak to this topic, and I wanted to approach this topic from a belief standpoint. I want to piggyback on our previous speakers by looking at ourselves. So I have some ways on how you can stop being judgmental, and then I have a piece that I can share. So the first thing is to challenge yourself to be compassionate to others by being compassionate to yourself. Change how you talk to yourself. So if you see someone who you're judging, challenge yourself to find it within yourself and break free from that. I like to play with words, so I say to separate the judge from the mental part of it. And if you can't find it, seek it, because we all want to be better people, right? So you want to seek the mental blockages that keep you from seeing that person as less than you. No one is superior to anyone. So you have to search into yourself to see, why do you feel that you are more superior than this person is? So that's one way that you can help not being judgmental. It's a reverse engineering process. You can look at positive speaking as currency. So if you speak life into yourself, or if you speak positive about yourself and say, hey, I'm unique, you force yourself into a habit of speaking positively about other people. And if you can't see the value in yourself, how could you possibly see the value in others? So that's important. You receive a double investment when you do that, when you speak life into other people. I also want people to take the limitations off of yourself. Believe that you are capable of doing anything. Nothing is, it's childlike faith, which is in the Bible, but it's thinking like a child. If you have an idea, and I tried this with my daughter, if you have an idea that you think is just so out of this world, ask a child how they would do it, and kind of mold you know, challenge yourself not to rebuttal their imagination, but to meet them where they are and bring that realism to it, because you can do anything. And just like a child, you can do anything. What else? Habit, letting go of your fear. We all have this fear, this person inside of us that tells us that we're not good enough, or we don't have enough of anything. But we're surrounded by resources. Start with what you have in front of you. Start with the resources. If there's so many free books. I just finished reading a book, The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. It's an amazing book, and it teaches you how the spiritual laws and what you put out is what you bring in, and just the removal of fear, removal of the ego, and looking at yourself as such a unique, rare person with so much extraordinary gifts inside. It resides in all of us. So that's another thing that you can do. Keep believing in yourself and have the courage to seek it. My name speaks for itself. And as he said, you can either stand in fear or stand in courage. And then I choose to stand in courage, because fear literally paralyzes us from doing anything. It stops us from, we create these mental blockages. For example, I plan to make a coast to coast move. I live in the United States, so I plan to move from the East Coast to the West Coast. And it sounds so crazy, but I am going to bite it little by little and make it as real as possible for myself, because I believe that I can do it. So it's all about training your mind every single day. Even if you don't believe it, look into the mirror and say it, and do it every time. Do it every day until you do. And you will force yourself to see others. I want to piggyback on our previous speaker when she said that, what did she say? She said something along the lines of looking at yourself and other people. So I can't remember where I was going to go with that, but all in all, just train your mind to be better, be a better person. Do the social media detox. That's what I was going to piggyback on. Me personally, I don't really scroll on social media, because I am so protective of my energy and my peace that it's like my baby. So if it's threatening, I'm going to do everything that in my power to protect that baby. If I need to saturate my environment with peace, or saturate my mind with something, ocean waves, sound healing, just literally bug yourself to death to be positive and to look at yourself differently, and it will happen. It will. It can't not happen, because the power lives in your tongue. It lives in yourself, and you can either speak life or you can speak death, and it's all in your mind. And faith is the belief in things unseen. So if you have the faith that you can do it, if you have the faith that you can do anything, it will happen, and it will become real. So those are my ways that you can change it. And I want to do this piece. I honestly haven't named this piece yet, because I don't know. I'm an artist, so I'm very sensitive about my work, and I want to make sure that this topic, the title of my poem, is perfect, and it's not perfect yet. So it's untitled, but here it goes. It's a thin line between fear and faith. It's like walking on a balance beam covered in grapefruit honey, bittersweetly balancing on what seems to be impossible. Slipping and falling from the constant fear quakes under my feet, living upside down for me. The darkness waits for me like tsunami waves ready to consume me, but my mind controls the wind. My mind, under the matter of facts from my history, my past, my chapters that's been written on the stones that gravitate me to the core of my fear. I feel numb, with no clothes on, every part of me free to see with naked eyes. Novocaine to my brain to survive the evil that lives in such close proximity that if I sneeze, our eyelashes could link. So close that I can hear its diaphragmatic breathing, inhaling my fumes from the fire within me. The flame that never extinguishes, but always distinguishes who I am from where I am. So I stick my enemy to my web of self-inflicted conviction to dissect the heart of the demonized thoughts with my words of affirmation. I'm not dead, I'm just healing. I'm just resting on the thin line between fear and faith. On the side of faith is where I stand in the hurricane of resistance from the enemy. I walk towards the eye of the storm where I'm called with toxic raindrops falling on me, debris from shattered houses falling on me, bricks and change from slavery falling on me, all while on this balanced beam of light, covered in grapefruit honey, bittersweetly balancing on what seems to be impossible. Standing and fighting on the constant faith quakes under my feet, living downside up for me. The light waits for me like tsunami waves, ready to consume me, but my mind controls the wind. My mind over the matter of facts from my history, my past, my chapters that's been written on the stones that gravitate me to the core of my faith. On this thin line between fear and faith, caught in the crossfire between my faith and my fear, the enemy aimed for my head, targeted my wounds, and pulled triggers to pull me near where my problems feel heavy, but my weight on God balances me so well that I moonwalk over my traumas. I push to stay grounded. Being in God's space suits my needs. I can belly breathe in an atmosphere that can kill me. No pressure in this place that lives on the thin line between fear and faith. And that's all I have.
Oh,
Wow. Me, fear, face everything and rise. And that's exactly what you did. That was absolutely mind-blowing, amazing.
Thank you.
Because really see you enjoyed it as well. There's so much talent there. Thank you so much, Maya, for just sharing that. That was just incredible, mind-blowing. Well
Thank
done
you.
to you. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it as well. And the audience, incredible. Thank you so much.
yes.
Thank you for having me here.
No,
And
you're very welcome. Thank you so much. That was incredible. Thank you.
thank you.
So our next speaker is the amazing Tom Astahovskis. Sorry. Sorry, I've not got that name right. His skills are adaptive stress management, mindfulness, and the yoga coach. And I'm really looking forward to Tom's speak today. Thank you for being here, Tom. And I'm sure the audience are looking forward to you speaking today. So, Tom, over to you, my dear friend.
So yeah, as Shabari said, judging is normal. Everyone does it 24/7, and I think that should be embraced. And before I continue, I would love to get on the same page and just define the word. What does it mean to judge? And if you look at the dictionary definition, it's form an opinion or conclusion about something. That's judging, and everyone does it all the time. Like even you, Frankie, right now, saying my name and not saying it completely right. Okay, that's a fact. What do I do with this information? That's a choice, and depending on what I do with this choice, I might become judgmental. And then another definition: what does it mean to become judgmental? And by dictionary definition, it's concerning use of judgment, or most commonly having or displaying overly critical point of view. So that's what most people understand by being judgmental, that negative side of it, that holding on to disempowering belief. And That's a choice. Being judgmental is one way of using judgment. And I hear some background noise. Am I still on?
Everything okay?
Everyone can hear me?
About that. Everything okay? Yeah. Please just mute, please.
Okay.
Is it okay? Just mute for Tom.
It's okay. I'm just making sure that my sound is going through. So yeah, what I was trying to say is that there's difference between judging and being judgmental. And we might not be able to stop judging because that's part of our brain. That's how normally brain works. We need to make decisions from moment to moment. And however, we have a choice what we do with these decisions, what we do with the information that's coming through us. And how are we holding on to those conclusions about the facts we receive? Fact that it's maybe raining outside, or someone said something I don't like about me. And that's our choice. And the theme of this discussion is how to avoid being judgmental. And I think the simplest way how to start is asking yourself a question. How does it feel when someone judges you? How does it feel? And from my experience, usually that's not a nice feeling. Usually I feel, in simple terms, bad. And at that point, I think it's really good to remember that if that's how it feels for you when someone else judges you, do you want to be the same person who judges someone else? I think that's the easiest motivation for me personally, how to avoid being judgmental towards others, because I know how it feels for myself, and I don't want to spread this kind of feeling to other people. So that would be the reason. So why you shouldn't be judgmental? Because if we're about to make a change and change a habit, which is stop judging, we need the reason why. And it's also really important to remember that each of us is a leader, either father, mother, sister, brother, or maybe manager in company. We're each leader to someone else. And in this position, we have a responsibility not to be judgmental and be as powerful and empowering as we can. Therefore, ask yourself a question as often as you can. How does it feel to be judged? And then ask yourself a question, do I want to judge others? And once you have decided, once you have made a decision that you don't want to judge people, the next question is, how do I don't judge the people? Because that's the next step. And first of all, you have to be aware. What does it mean to judge? You have to be aware. How does it feel when you judge? So you can ask yourself a question. When I judge, how does it feel when I'm judging someone else? How does it feel to me? Not as how does it feel to other person we asked before, but how does it feel at the present moment? Because once you become aware, how does it feel from your side when you're judging? Like we mentioned here before, it feels like superiority. And once you become aware of this feeling, you have power to stop this feeling coming into yourself. And that's a practice, that's a skill. Don't expect to being stop judgmental towards others on a first time. Whenever you catch this thought, it's a practice, it's a skill, and it's something that needs to be trained like a muscle. And at this point, I would just love to have a short summary of what it takes to be stop judgmental. So first of all, you have to make a decision that you want to stop being judgmental. You want to have this decision backed by why you don't want to be judgmental. And then you need a strategy of how, which is being present and noticing, catching yourself in those moments when you're judgmental. But this doesn't stop here. And I would love to dive a bit more deeper and give a bit more understanding of how judging can be creep into our lives, how it can be expressed. So First of all, I would love to start with a note that instead of trying to focus on other people judging you, I think it's more empowering, more important for adopting a mindset that in reality, the only person I can 100% influence is me. So focus all your attention of stop being judgmental yourself, towards yourself and towards others. So be the leader you want to be. And second part of this, I would love to remind that yes, judging is a natural part of our brain, how it works, because our brain loves to automate, our brain loves to save energy. And by making those judgments, we're kind of skipping the spending of energy to make a decision. Is this person nice to me? Is this person, do I have to be scared of this person saying something bad for me? And by being by judging, every time we enter a room, we kind of assess who are the people in this room. And by making those judgments, we save ourselves energy of deciding, is this a scary place or is this a safe place? And by accepting the judgment is there, you empower yourself to decide what kind of judgments I want to make. Now you can get curious, now you can get playful. Do I want to judge people that they're positive and always expect, this is a safe place for me? Or you want to keep a doubt in there and fear that maybe this is not a safe place for me to be in the first place. But yeah, just accept the judging is normal. That's the first thing. And I would also like to point out that judging can be both internal and external. So when it's external, it's when I'm speaking to someone else and I word out my judgment to some colleague, a friend, a family member. And this is easy to catch because you hear yourself judging someone else in shamed words. And this is the kind of easiest way how to catch yourself being judgmental. However, there's internal judgment. When you look at the person and think, I don't like this person, or this person is too sad or angry or whatever the feeling is, and you don't like this. And this is a bit harder to catch. The next level is a distinction between judging yourself and others. And again, it's way easier to notice yourself judging others. However, it's much harder to notice that you're judging yourself. And this is, I think, the biggest challenge that we can have for ourselves, noticing that we're judging ourselves. And even when we're judging others, are we truly judging others? Or are we actually judging ourselves by projecting what we don't like about ourselves? And the final thing I would love to ask yourselves, when you judge or when you catch yourself being judged, does it really serve you? The conclusion you made about this person or about yourself, is it really serving? Or you can find a bit empowering conclusion. What are the facts? What are really the facts that I heard? And I love to come back to the example. Frankie mispronounced my name, and that's the fact. What do I make about it? Well, my surname is quite difficult, so it's normal that person who's not coming from the same culture, from the same background, might not pronounce it correctly. So how do I feel about it? I feel good. So the idea is to, how does it make you feel when you make a judgment, when you make a conclusion about someone? Is it making you feel good or is it making you feel bad? So hope this helps, and try to be present with your mind, with your thoughts, with your feelings. And how do you feel from moment to moment? Thank you.
Thomas, absolutely amazing. And you're into mindfulness, and that was an amazing talk. It was really mindful about everything that was going on here in this on this summit today. So thank you so much, Thomas. I can see your skills and what you do. I'm sure you're absolutely amazing at it, and I really enjoyed your talk, and I'm sure that the audience did as well. And thank you, Tom, for spending time and being here with us today. And I really appreciate you and everything that you do. And I'm sure you're creating a lot of value, a lot of aspects of what you do and where you live. You know, you're amazing. So thank you so much for that talk, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tom. So yes, thank you so much. I think that is it. So I'd just like to thank all the amazing speakers here today. I've really, really enjoyed it, all your talks. You are amazing, and I feel that the world is in a really good place with you in it. I really do honestly believe that, and I'm sure you'll create a lot of values where you are and where you live, and just keep on doing what you are doing. You've been absolutely amazing, and I've really enjoyed all of your talks and taken a few notes. And I've just been listening to the feedback as well in the chat, and I think the chat, people have been feeding back to you as well, have been bouncing off what people have been saying, and there's been some amazing stuff in there, what the audience have been putting there. So I'm sure that the audience, and I'm sure that people would like to probably ask these amazing speakers today on this platform, if anyone would like to ask them some questions, you're more than happy to ask some questions, maybe they give you some answers. So would anybody like to ask a question, please?
I would like to ask a question. I would like to ask a question to Shabari. Did I say your name correctly? So,
Yes.
Shabari and Mary, I believe. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to transition to the vegan world? I'm fasting right now on a vegan fast, and it has been so hard because I'm so used to cooking just whatever. So I've been trying to intake more, and I've actually started using a sea moss. But as far as like recipes, do you all recommend any, I don't know, cookbooks, or how do you transition to that?
Well, first of all, don't be too hard on yourself. Many people slip up, even long-term vegans may slip up occasionally, not on purpose, but by accident. But yeah, that's the first thing to remember. Don't give yourself a hard time. Be kind to yourself, and don't put pressure on yourself. People who go vegan, some of them may go vegan overnight, but most of them do it gradually. And it is important that you do your research in terms of what vitamins, what extra vitamins that you need.
Right.
For example, vegans need to be careful of vitamin B12, which is only found in animal products. So you need to make sure that you supplement yourself with vitamin B12, or have fortified products that contain vitamin B12. For example, most of the soya milk brands these days will have fortified vitamin B12. Also, yeast extract is fortified with vitamin B12 as well. Vitamin D is another vitamin to be careful of as well. It's called the sunshine vitamin, but here in the UK there isn't a lot of sunshine, so I would take supplements of vitamin D. There's two types of vitamin D. One is vitamin D2, which is calciferol. I think I pronounced that right. Which is always vegan. The other one is vitamin D3, which is polycalciferol, and that can be vegan or non-vegan. So I would check the packet to make sure that it is vitamin D3, a vegan version of vitamin D3. In terms of recipes, or where can you start? Well, if you join my World Vegan Market Facebook group, I have quite a number of different live cookery demos which I organise summarized on there. So as I mentioned earlier, you don't actually have to be vegan to be on the group or to be a spectator or a visitor. So do please join. I've got quite a number of wonderful like cookery demonstrations on there. So yeah, do please join. And you know, if you have any other questions, please connect with me as well. I'll be happy to help you. You know, with any questions that you have as well.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you so much, Shabari. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else like to ask any questions? Or
I can ask another question.
Okay.
But I'll wait just in case someone else has one.
Can I just say how much I've enjoyed this afternoon? If I'm allowed to interlude here, some really thought-provoking things from everybody. Mary, it's so funny because you were talking about controlling our energy, in that if we raise our own energy, we don't invest in those low energy activities, which I think is really, really insightful. And you know, Shabari, your story, amazing. I think it helps. We all have a perspective of what being judgmental looks like. And what you did is you helped me open my mind, become more aware of what it is, which is brilliant, and some great ideas. Tom's as well. I think, I don't know, my thoughts, you know, I think one of the wonderful things about something like this is my thoughts evolve as I take in new information. So our perspective changes. Maya, loved your poem. Absolutely beautiful words. And again, you know, I think I've shared a few little quotes. I love quotations. I'm a bit sad like that. And I've shared a few. And you know, you triggered some of the quotations. There's one, I think it was Bob Proctor. And he said, you know, faith and fear both require that we believe in something that hasn't happened yet. And actually we have a choice, you know, and it's so sad, I find, that so many people choose fear.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, your inspiring thinking with that is fantastic. And you know, I think the other one that prompted me was Gandhi, who said, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think one of the themes that's come through today is that actually, if we ourselves choose not to be judgmental, and then we behave like that with everybody else, we can create ripples. But the question I wanted to ask all of you, so you all feel free to come in, is I did make a comment, and I'm a business coach and mentor. So one of the kind of agreements I make with my clients is that we have to be willing to have open, honest, and objective conversations about where we are right now and the actions we take and the way we perform on things, if we're going to commit to an attitude of constant, never-ending improvement, because we all want to get better. So that involves judgment of sorts, doesn't it? In terms of, you know, not the person, but the activity or the performance or the way they do something. So how would you advise each and every one of you that we actually can embrace that and do that and make it and perhaps deliver it in a way where people don't take it personally? Because I think that's part of the problem with being judgmental, is we all compare ourselves to everybody else, don't we? So that's a bit of a convoluted question, but I'd love to get your thoughts on what we can do to not be judgmental of people, but still be able to be objective and help people get better, because that's what we're all here for.
I think there's an acceptance that we're all in a process of growth. Okay, we're not stagnant. We're not stuck. Think of each of us on this panel, where we were maybe a few months or a few years ago, and where we are today. And each person that we encounter, they're on their continuum. So accepting that each of us is in some kind of motion, that's the energy. And we wish for them what we wish for ourselves, to be the very best. We want to be moving forward on that continuum. And I mean, just think about it, is the silliest things. I mean, even when we were younger, we were getting upset about it. It's like, what are we getting upset about? This is there's no need for this. There's no, so I think it's accepting the human condition and the capacity to grow. So, and I know that has helped me a lot over the years, and I'm still growing. There's no, we're never there, okay?
I'm with you on that, definitely, Mary. I mean, I hate using the term change, because people talk about changing, and actually we have this embedded dread of change. Nobody wants to change. We fear it, you know. But what you've just described, I always talk about, we are all evolving, and we evolve naturally. And what you're describing is exactly that. I've evolved. My thinking has evolved today.
Right.
Because of the new ideas that have come across. And if I can take those and apply them, but what we, you know, I think we have to do is remember that we're on a journey, you know, and we will never reach the end, because the journey will never stop. But, you know, we seem to try to compare ourselves where we are today and beat ourselves up because we're not where we want to be in the future. And, you know, I agree totally. Brilliant answer. Thank you. That's really useful. Anybody else with some thoughts to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, you said something key. You said meeting people where they are. And as a parent, I know everyone doesn't have children, but as a parent, you have to meet your child where they are in their stage in their life. And you have to look at yourself as a child too. And Les Brown said something key. He said, never be satisfied with yourself. So when you approach a situation and it makes you uncomfortable, growth and comfort cannot reside in the same place. Right. So you have to get used to being uncomfortable. So that's how you can kind of evolve. If it's uncomfortable, you just have to like fight yourself out of it and move forward and learn from it, and don't beat yourself up every time you failed or you didn't do it the right way. Don't beat yourself up, because you're valuable, you're precious. So that's my...
Actually, Tom's talked about that, and he talked about awareness. And I think all transformation begins with awareness. Most people catch themselves doing something and beat themselves up. Whereas actually, I catch myself doing something that I don't want to do, and I celebrate, because it gives me the opportunity to change it and to actually transform. But I love the analogy with kids. I have a little philosophy of my own, and I say we should treat children as small adults and adults as big kids. Yeah. Because we're all the same, you know, at the end of the day. Yeah. I always feel frustrated when I see parents and the children says, you know, the parent says do something, and the child says why. The parent says because I say so. You would never say that to an adult, would you? You know. Brilliant. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Yes. And also, I have another quote, one last one before I land my plane, but I have a quote. The only person better than me is the person that I'm becoming. And since you're always becoming, you're always evolving, you're better than who you were yesterday. So
I think we should have an exchange of quotations meeting, because you're inspiring me. One of my mentors is a guy called Peter Thompson, and he says, whenever you set a goal so big that you cannot possibly achieve it until you become the person who can. And
it's a constant thing. Yeah, we should do this. I like this quote thing. It works.
We're gonna have our own little party.
We're really gonna have to do this, because I have another one to back it up, but I'll let others speak.
Go on, get it in before somebody else does.
You can never stand in fear. You can never stand in fear. You can never stand inferior if you never stand in fear. There we go. So you break that word down. Inferior is a fear, you know? So that's my last quote. Don't do another one, Steve. We're gonna go.
I have a little concept I call interference, spelt with an F-E-A-R. How we deal with it when it gets in the way. Tom's, love to hear you. You look as though you were going to say something.
Sorry.
Yes, in short, my answer to your question, Steve, is be aware and then handle the situation as soon as you can. And to answer a bit more depth, so there's actually a bit more understanding what I mean by that, is that whenever we say something project, is to be aware how it feels inside, then try to feel how do you feel it projected? Because I've noticed sometimes when I'm saying something to someone is that what I observe outside as being projected is slightly different than what I intend to project. And then also observing how other people receive it. So I might have the best intentions and observe something else projected, and I observe something, the person in front of me taking it personally, for example. And then as soon as I observe that my message was not received as I intended, is to deal with it. And in my experience, one of the best ways how to deal with it is apologize for whatever miscommunication happened, and try to inquire what happened. What did you hear from me? What's happened? Like, apologize. Start with that and then see what's happening. So yeah, be aware and apologize.
Great advice.
Great.
I have a little thing I call managing expectations, and if I'm working with the client, I agree up front what we were able to do, we're able to ask, and you know, to try to minimize that. It still happens, and you're quite right. As soon as you see it, you need to deal with it straight away. But yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that. Thank you. Shabari, you must have something to say. Loved everybody's presentations today. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
thank you, Steve. Yeah, something that Maya mentioned earlier as well, with regards to judging. There's a difference actually between judging ourselves, accepting ourselves, and personal development, wanting to be a better version of ourselves. And there is a big difference. So, you know, when we're wanting to be a better version of ourselves, we're not judging ourselves. You know, we are wanting to improve ourselves. So that is it's the language that we use in like every day. It's the voice in our head. And when I gave my talk earlier, I mentioned about you know, some of us may be constantly saying to ourselves, "Oh, we're not good enough. We're a failure. We're this and we're that," and that is judging ourselves. Whereas if we are wanting to be a better version of ourselves, we're wanting to improve ourselves, it's not that we are disliking ourselves, it's that you know, we want to improve ourselves, we want to be a better version of ourselves, and that is again you know, using language, and that's just very, very important. It's the language that we say to ourselves, because, you know, it doesn't matter how we're sort of portraying ourselves to the world so much, in that you know, every day, every second, if we're using language that is putting ourselves down, that is judging ourselves, then that is detrimental to our personal growth. So yes, I just wanted to mention about the difference between wanting to better yourself and judging yourself.
That's a wonderful distinction, actually. That's really powerful. It made me immediately think that I've always been a great believer that the questions we ask are really important. But actually, if we do something wrong and we say, "Why do I do these things badly?" Or we could say, "How can I do that better?" I think we need to be mindful and be aware of the questions we're asking ourselves. So thank you for that. That's a really important distinction. Ramona, I don't know whether you're there. I can't see you. I love.
Did you want to?
Love is a big thing for me.
Thank you so much, Steve. She, did you want to speak? And then Lisa Marie, please.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank you so much. Thanks for being our host as well. And to say thank you to all our invited guest speakers. It's been so amazing. All the things that you said have been so thoughtful provoking as well. Thank you so much. And I'd like to pick out some of the things that all of you might have said. Savannah, the way you said about being mindful rather than being harsh on ourselves. The language we use to, on daily basis, some of people don't realize how it can have a negative impact to ourselves. And Tom as well, you brought something which was really, really caught my mind, that we should be really aware that we should think about the things we say and try to reflect on those things. But if you don't reflect, you will never know. If you say something to somebody, you need to realize it, but through reflecting and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That's how we use a reflection, that we realize that that was not the right thing to say to somebody. So thank you so much, and Maria as well. And this brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. I've learned so much. And from you, Steve, as well. I love sports. And you as well, I love sports. I'm so much into sports. So we need to get to maybe connect and talk more about sports as well. They're really powerful. They take a lot of things. Thank you so much. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Lisa.
Hi, I just wanted to say well done to everybody. I thought you were amazing. I took a little bit from each of you. It's like Steve said, you grow with everything. I don't specifically have a question, but certainly food for thought was raised in my mind today, especially with that last comment that you made, Shabari, about making that distinction. Because the whole time I picked up on with everybody that you all touched on the fact that the conclusion for me from this, and Tom's was very much going on this as well, and for what you just said, Shabari, was that we tend to take that word judgment to mean something negative. But like like you've all said, we do it. It's human nature. We all do it. Everyone does it. And it actually isn't negative in itself. Like Shabari said, we technically are judging ourselves even when we want to improve. So it was interesting because I did a personality test on myself recently. And this is why it resonated when you all spoke, because I came out as judgmental and I was horrified until I looked into it and spoke with my coach, who obviously then got me to open my mind to the fact that, of course, being judgmental can be a really good thing if it's done in a positive way, and it can be very useful in business, in life, in every way. But the negative side of judgment, like Sheila just touched on, can be so damaging and does not produce the environment that really any of us want to be part of. So I just want to say thank you so much for opening eyes today and for everything that you've shared. And I just love being here. I love it when everybody gets their voice out to the world and joins us here on the Global Speakers stage. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much, everybody, Sheila, for sharing your amazing wisdom and knowledge. It was just absolutely incredible. And I'm very lucky because I've been the host today, and I've been a little bit judgmental of myself because I know I've had a few technical issues and problems, and I really wanted to do my best for everybody today. So thank you so much for just being so. It's just been an amazing. I've really enjoyed hosting this. And if anything about being judgmental, guys, I would say in a diplomatic way, we always ask for feedback, don't we? We always ask for questionnaires because we always know that we want to do better. And that's how I felt today, that we want to do better. And we know that we can do better because we want to serve people and we want to serve the world in the best way that we can be. And we do beat ourselves up. Why? Because we care, because we cared about each other. And I really felt today, that's what I felt from all of you. I thought it was an absolutely amazing 28th Global Speakers Summit. Thank you so much, all you guys, for being here, all the people behind the scenes supporting. You know who you are. You're amazing ladies and amazing people. And thank you so much for sharing your hearts, your knowledge, your wisdom, and all what you what you do. I feel like I've got some more friends now. I've come to see you all on Facebook, and they will be in touch with you all. And just thank you for all what you do. You're amazing people, and I appreciate you all. So thank you for being here. And I would like you to all give yourself a little clap and a little, like that, whatever you want to do, and just.
And a little round of applause for Frankie, because this is the first time he's done this, I believe. So, I think, we can give any little, who hasn't made got things a little bit wrong at times. We're all here. Brilliant job, Frankie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all. And take care and look after yourselves and keep doing what you're doing, guys. Yes? Is there anything else I need to do now? Are we going to all wave and say bye and say, wow, well done, fantastic. And
bye, everybody.
Bye, lovely to meet those of you who haven't met before. I hope to connect.
Thank you so much. You're all my friends now, and take care and keep doing what you're doing. Bye-bye now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate you all. Thank you.